Hey, what's going on, y'all? And Happy New Year's. It's your boy 3 Stacks in this thing, representing Team King of Games all day, every day. We're going over some OG classics. We did Blue Eyes and Red Eyes, and now it's time to do Dark Magician. Save the best for last. Everybody loves Yugioh, and everybody loves Dark Magician. Of course, if you watch the show when you're a little kid, you understand the feeling. So also something that I just want you guys to keep in mind, because you asked for it, well, not everybody, but a lot did. We're doing no hand traps in the deck profiles that I'm showcasing tonight, basically, just for this one night. We're just going to take one small break from hand traps and, you know, the unhealthy Yu-Gi-Oh, the unhealthy competitive Yu-Gi-Oh that people are just getting so tired of. Like, I don't understand why. Like, I like hand traps, but a lot of people just don't like them and they hate them and they're tired of them. They feel like Ash should be banned, ban evenly matched, ban Droll, like ban them all. But because you guys are tired of it, I wanted to build some semi-competitive decks that don't really need hand traps to begin with. And if they did need hand traps, which kind of every deck does, I'm still not going to play the hand traps in them just because you guys don't want the hand traps in them. Just for today. And after that, I'm going to go back to my the regular way that I like to do things. So we're going to hop right into this main deck without further ado. One more thing I forgot to mention is we're celebrating the fact that I basically hit my 5,000 subscriber goal. As my first year as a Yu-Gi-Tuber, this is kind of like a big thing to me, and I'm really happy about it. So 3 copies of Blue Boys. The entire spellbook engine is all max Radiant Foreman. I'm so happy. Blue Boy's amazing. He starts up the engine. Sometimes opening with him is better than Rod because the cards you draw off of the Secrets play get you like Dark Magical Circle or Dark Magician or that Eternal Soul that you needed. So he can kind of like open up the door to both engines. And whereas Rod is kind of like one-sided on this aspect, he only gets you started with the Dark Magician engine, and the Dark Magician engine's great. The deck really is just pure engine, but sometimes you need that other extender. Like if you don't open up with Secrets or Knowledge and him, you don't actually get that plus. And at the same time, you know, you really do need to get this card in the graveyard to trigger his effect on your opponent's turn, because you're going to be doing combos off of Soul and Circle and of course, you know, Dark Magician of Illusion, and you're going to be chaining a bunch of effects like him and Illusion and Circle, like adding him back from grave. Just maximizing your value. You really do need to get him in the grave, long story short. So these are the 6 normal summons of the deck. It's really, really nice to open up with these. And aside from that, you're playing the obligatory 3 Dark Magicians. He's just amazing. This card has the best effect in the world. And then we have 2 copies of, that's how I've been pronouncing his name a little bit wrong. I keep calling him Dark Magician of Illusion. It's Magician of Dark Illusion. He's pretty much, his name is Muhammad or Mahad. Yeah, it's Oracle Mahad. So Palladium Oracle Mahad. That's his shadow, which is something that's really cool. It's basically him, but his shadow. And you only play 11 monsters, so because your monster count is so short, no Apprentice Illusions. No, I'm not playing the card. Yeah, it's a great card, but I just don't play it. Because the monster count's so short, we are playing a lot of deck thinners. A lot of ways to kickstart the engine. That's one good reason, but the second reason is also because this deck needs to set up. It's kind of like how Pendulum Magicians need scales at all time, and they need like just certain continuous cards. You commit a lot of resources, so you need to A, mitigate for that, B, find some way to plus or break even, and also C, you need a lot of ways to get to the engine and also to set yourself up with that Eternal Soul, that Dark Magical Circle, that Grand Tower of the Spellbooks, and also have a Rod in fluctuation, not in fluctuation, in rotation, have a Dark Magician. Like, you get what I'm saying? You have to have all these specific cards for the deck to work the way I want it to work. So you need a lot of draw power to draw the setup. So the draw power might seem excessive, but at the same time, it's mandatory in my personal opinion. And I did build the deck, so I kind of built it the way I wanted it to be. 3 copies of Dark Magical Circle is just a great card. Banishing cards is fun. Banishing cards while drawing is really, really fun. 3 Secrets. Secrets is a hard one to return, but it is absolutely necessary in my opinion. And we also play 3 Card of the Mize. These are the hard once per turn effects in the spell lineup that I play at 3. Everything else is not at 3 because the deck has so much draw power, you don't want to draw into a bunch of hard once per turn effects after you've already used them. And it happened, so I was like, we need to take like a lot of these off of like, you know, the 3 of and just put them down to 2 ofs. And a perfect example is now we're playing 2 copies of Knowledge, whereas I was playing 3, believe it or not. It was excessive, and yeah, it works because it was live like all the time. The thing is, it's the spellbook engine that I'm running in the deck. It's more or less, you can call it prophecy. It recycles itself. It can put the stuff back into the deck. It can add from the banish zone to hand. So there's a lot of ways to get this card back. And at the same time, you can live off of 1. So I was like, why do we really need to play 3? We don't need to. We were just trying to find a way to dig into the deck as quickly as possible. Let's just play this at 2 and play the deck right. Play Prophecies the way they're supposed to be played. It's a deck that teaches you how to be a resource manager like a beast. Then we played 2 Desires. I also was playing 3 of this. I cut it down to 2 because it is a hard once per turn effect that you naturally don't ever want to resolve more than once, even though it is possible. And sometimes you can do it and you're like the Clutch Master. Then we played 2 Pot of Duality instead of 3 because it's also a hard once per turn. And at the same time, it's not even as mandatory as other cards, but it is the closest thing you can get to adding any card from your deck to your hand. So it is clutch on that end. And for more engine, we play 2 copies of Illusion Magic. Illusion Magic is just amazing. Like, dude, this card, it's a lifesaver. It really is. That's the best way to just, that's what I'm going to call this card. It's my lifesaver, and it really has done that. So the spells are just pure engine. It's just search, 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 draw, draw, draw. This is all just searching and drawing. And then the Grand Spellbook Tower, this lets you draw extra cards. So every single turn, you're drawing 2 cards. And at the same time, you're putting spellbooks back into your deck so you can search them out, use their effects again, or to add targets. It's just really, really awesome. And this is part of your setup. You want this in your field spell zone. You want Circle and Eternal Soul. You want Dark Magician somewhere, hand or graveyard. And you also want a Magician's Rod in your graveyard. Like, it's a specific setup that I really, really want so badly that I'm willing to run all this excessive draw power that's not even needed. Then we play 2 copies of Wonder Wand. Beating over things is really, really important because this deck struggles with firepower. Its max cap off is naturally just 2,500. Without the, pretty much, I guess without the option of going into the extra deck, its max cap off is 3,000. And then after that, once it goes into the extra deck, I believe its max cap off would be 33 with Decode Talker. But it's such a rare occasion when you can make the card that you never really get the chance to get that kind of firepower. So this serves dual purpose. Yes, you can draw 2 cards with it, but the most important thing is boosting your Spellcaster, boosting your Dark Magician, boosting your Ebon Illusion so that they can be able to beat over monsters that have a higher attack than 2,500. And also sometimes you can't afford to get your search, use one of your searches for like power. Like, you kind of needed to search the Fate instead of the power. So Fate could banish that problematic card that naturally couldn't be targeted or destroyed. And then you still need to beat over something. And it's like, dang, even though I play the Spellbook of Power, I couldn't actually search it. Wonder Wand is very, very clutch, believe it or not. And I have a lot of good reasons for playing it. I would never play that 3, but it is a really, really nice 2 of. It complements the deck very well. So that's pretty much the explanation. I'm sure I would have got questions about that. And then also 2 copies of Into the Void. Demise makes you discard your whole hand anyways. This is honestly like a why not card choice. At the same time, it has been clutch because honestly, it's drawn me some of the greatest cards ever. Like, the one card I was missing, I could say like that. But it's not really needed, and I'll say that. It really isn't, but it's nice to have. 2 copies of Spellbook of Fate. Fate is just incredible, dude. This is something you gotta play at least 2 in this deck. Because when you banish with Circle and then Ebon Illusion, and then banish with this, you can clear an entire field. Like, you can just kind of break a board in a sense. It just like picks off the best cards. Like, banish, banish, banish. The rest left over is mediocre. Fate is just amazing. It also happens to be a Speller Trap Bouncer and a Book of Moon. It's a very, very, very versatile spellbook, and it's worth the slots in my deck. I find myself searching this out a lot. In the middle of my combos. Like, if I have secrets, I'm going to go secrets. And if I have, like, secrets and knowledge, that's great, because then secrets is going to search out this or master. Because I really, really need that Fate. The only times it kind of sucks is when you draw this after you've resolved Spellbook of Knowledge. Then you're like, I'm going to have to set this and use Eternal Soul to make it live and just special Dark Magician, trigger the circle, and that way you have even more interruption on your opponent's turn. Playing on your opponent's turn is always nice, since this deck doesn't run any hand traps. Then we have the 1 Wisdom. Wisdom is clutch to save you from Eternal Soul blowing up your field, because you can make your monster unaffected by traps, or you can make it unaffected by spells like board wipes, etc. It's a really, really nice techie one-up that you can recycle, so you don't really need multiples. And at the same time, opening up with it isn't ideal. It can make it work sometimes, but it just hasn't been the best card to play at 2 in my opinion. And then the 1 Eternity. Eternity, you just keep putting it back into your deck with the Grand Spellbook Tower and keep using it to add any of your banished spellbooks back. And then the 1 Master. Master is like an extender. Master breaks the rules. That's the way I see this card. Any card that has a hard once per turn effect it can be used again, even if it says you can only activate this card once per turn. That's why I love Master, because it's just that card that I feel like it shouldn't have been printed, but at the same time, spellbooks really do need it. It's Mando. And then the 1 power, because firepower is a thing, like you really, really need firepower, and also searching another book at the end. It's clutch, man. Power really does come through. And then, of course, the Raigeki. I'm kind of like in love with the rarity of the deck. Like, I want ulti dualities, so I can just run all ultimate rare of everything, but we haven't got to that point yet. It's a hefty, hefty spell lineup, and I really wouldn't change a thing. If you have constructive criticism, I really don't mind that. But one thing I'm not going to do is play my deck the way you tell me to play it, because it's my deck, and I don't really mean offense by that, but it's true, it's my deck. The Solemn Brigade, 3 strikes and 1 warning. I chose this because you can't play evenly matched, simply because I'm not playing hand traps. I'm choosing not to because people are asking me to just do some deck profiles without hand traps, and these are great because naturally you don't really have, like before I wasn't playing these cards, you didn't really have real back row. It was like you have to have Soul or Fate or like Ebon Illusion, and if you didn't have that, you had no ways to really like deal with things. So I was like, the Solemn Brigade really does help. And of course in a Pendulum matchup, striking or warning the entire Pendulum summon and just leaving them like the Joker is always nice. 3 souls and 2 navigation. Navigation is great. The problem was I was opening up with it too much, and then there were times that I would draw like 2 of it off of a card of demise, and I got so pissed off. It was to the point where I was like, forget this. I am cutting the freaking card down to 2. Not at 1, because you actually do need to see this card sometimes, but it's just, it kind of gets on my nerves. I just say it like that. And that's going to sum up the main deck. Yes, it is well above 40 cards. I chose for it to be that way, and I have my reasons. Then we played 2 Ebon Illusion. I rarely go into the extra deck, and I almost always go into the extra deck for this card, and that pretty much after that, it's game. Then we played 2 Ebon High because there are games when this is the only monster that I feel like is going to give me value. When I like have that opportunity to go on the extra deck and it's like, hey, you know what? I might not ever be able to go on my extra deck again. You got to make it count. And because he has that unique ability, I just feel like he's worth it. And then the floating ability is great. There were grind games where I had like the option to make 2 rank 7s. Like I was like, I know I can make 1 now, and I know I'll be able to make 1 another. I'm not sure if I can make the 3rd because the game might not last that long. And I made 2 of this, and it actually did help me out immensely. His effect is incredible, believe it or not. Most players don't even like the card, and they just play it at 1 and never summon it. But this card has really won me games, and I like it. Then the 1 Hierophant on Prophecy, he's pretty much Heavy Storm. And then the 1 Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon for the style points when you just like kill yourself. Draco Sack, sometimes I use it in Link Summon, but it's only if I resolve Tomahawk, and like I don't play 2 Tomahawks, so it's like I was all Tomahawk and I'm like, dang, I need to make like a Decode Talker like right now. So it's like we'll use Draco Sack and we'll like either pop first or just use the tokens to link right now. But these are like extenders at time. It really does help you out. Tomahawk was not necessary, but I was like, we want style points, you know, I want to Link Summon sometimes. I feel like links are clutch. So I was like, I want to be able to make them. And this deck's playstyle is kind of like not aggro. So you don't summon a whole bunch of monsters. So you don't have the excess resources to make links. But he gives you them. And then Big Eye. He happens to be a spellcaster. So he has, you know, a beneficial plus. And then for the links, Double Firewall, Proxy, Akashic, Decode, and Trigate. The up pointing arrow is very, very important. That's why I'm playing Trigate. I don't think it's even possible for this deck to co-link him by 3, but it is possible to make him, and his up pointing arrow is clutch at times for this, and also it's clutch at times for like when you make her and it's like, I don't want to get rid of her, I want to keep her there, so let's put him under there, and then let's gain some life points because it's clutch. And then the Link Spider. The Link Spider is here. Obviously Dark Magician's a vanilla, so you know, if you could just start off with that. So Link Spider, it's kind of like, it's kind of necessary, but at the same time, you don't have to play it, I guess, if that makes sense. But that's pretty much going to sum up the deck profile, you guys. Definitely let me know what you think. Leave your honest opinion and feedback in the comment section below. I will read it once I get the chance. And also, if you have any deck requests to make of me, just ask me. And if I have the cards, I'll do it right away. And if not, you might have to wait a little bit for me to get them, but I will get them and I will do the deck profile. On that note, God bless you guys. Happy New Year's. Make good choices. Do not hurt your brain cells. It's a new year. Started off by just doing the right thing. And also just know that I love you guys and I care a lot about your opinions, and I do pay attention to what you say. I hear you out and I try my best to basically express and show my concerns for your opinions. But on that note, I'm going to go ahead and move to the next deck profile, and you'll be hearing from me like in 5 minutes. Peace.